So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to use this to do a little look over the lab instructor information sheet and talk a little bit about lab. Again, just to give you some brief overview, this is what's on D2L, the lab instructor sheet. So this gives my name, Mark Vandell, that gives my number. Again, I get all my messages through the school, and I'm going to be I'm going to be in my office fairly often because I need to get most of my papers and stuff are there anyway. So if you ever need to get in touch with me and you need to call that number, leave a message. It comes up, I'll see it right away. So let me know. This is my email address. Again, I've got on here that I've got, I try to respond as early as I can. I've got officially up to 48 hours to do it. I am going to be checking my email very often. That's going to be, that was mainly for when we were face-to-face classes. And so, but it's just kind of legalese to make sure, you know, that I'm going to try my best. Now, if I don't respond back to you in an appropriate manner, like a time as far as you feel, you know, send me another email. As long as it's respectful, it'll all be good. Because a lot of times stuff happens, like it gets into the junk email box. There's we've been having a lot of tightening of the filters. So, but, you know, it's all good. But I mean, I've had students that will email me at like 12 midnight and then get upset that I haven't answered them, you know, send me another email at like 3 in the morning. And, you know, how come you haven't responded back? You know, I'm asleep. So I've had a lot of interesting situations, and that's kind of what it is. It's just giving you an idea. I tell you there, I don't know. I'm going to have a little weekend at least or something coming up where I'm unplugging for a little bit, because I have been running a sprint for the last month or so because I'm so out of my league and out of my element with the online stuff. So there might be a time when I am going camping and just getting away from everything for a day or two. So anyway, just letting you know, but that's legalese. It should be where I'm getting back to you pretty soon, especially now because I'm going to be online a lot. In my office in the Grand Strand building, across from where if you know where the cafe is, down the little hall next to it where the restrooms are, there's little water fountains. I'm in that little, across the hall from the water fountains, I'm in that little area. But I want to really talk about the office hours and stuff. So since we're online, what I'm planning to do is I'm going to be up and I'm going to be doing stuff online for the morning. And I put on here 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm going to be on a lot, you know, checking things. I'm working about trying to figure out, you know, scheduling Skype, but the next two I do want to talk about with Skype. So I don't know, you can't tell on this, but I'm having to use Zoom. I'm trying to learn how to use Skype on that. I can use Zoom where it's just this recording it and I don't have to have other people on there, so there's no real security issues, but Zoom's having some issues with people being able to get in and hack into your computer and stuff. So we're doing Skype, and I'm not real familiar with it, but my plan is, the whole point I'm bringing that up is, I want to try to separate SO1 and SO2. So I've got two classes. I'm sending this out to both, we are scheduled as a time on labs. Now, again, we're not meeting on campus, but the labs are scheduled. For instance, SO1 is Monday 10 to 2, Thursday 12 to 4. So what I am planning on doing is I'll be sending out a link to both sections, and that every week, Monday 12 or 10 to 2, I'll try to set aside that time so that if you are in that lab and you want to come in and join, and then you can ask questions, we can go over stuff, I will be there. Now, here's the deal. I will get on at 10. If nobody's there, I'm going to do stuff on, you know, I'll be working on computer stuff and trying to get things set up until, you know, someone joins. But if at like 10:30 nobody's joined, I'll probably close down the meeting. This is not mandatory. You don't have to come, but I just want to have a time where I can start getting, I'm a creature of habit. I like patterns. I like to have things organized. So I want to have time where I can just say, look, I'm setting this aside if you want. Now, and as I'm saying this, all of a sudden I'm realizing, yeah, next week, the second week, I should say, of the semester, we have a Monday holiday. So we'll see how that works. So I might move it to where it's Tuesday so it doesn't mess up that, but I don't know. We'll see. I know I got to talk to some of my students. If you're in SO1, you might have scheduled things where Monday, Wednesday are better for you. So we'll figure it out. Whatever the case may be, we're going to make it work. But my point being is I want to have some sort of time where I can just set aside and say, look, I'm going to have this idea for video conferencing where we can have groups of people come and we can, kind of get a little bit more of a class type atmosphere where you can ask questions and we can discuss things. That's the plan as of now. I've never done this, so I don't know how it's going to work out. If it turns out nobody is showing up, then, we'll see where that goes. But if it turns out like we have a lot of people and it gets unruly, because some of these meetings I've gone through a couple of meetings with the we've had, group faculty meetings, and it's just gotten where everybody's trying to talk, whatever. So, it's going to be a very fluid situation. Like I keep saying often, we'll kind of work on how it's going to, we'll figure out how it's going to work as we go through, but that's the idea. So as we move on down, this is our schedule. Class week 1 is going to be blood typing. I've got blood and blood typing. Is going to talk about white blood cells as well. It's got some information. It sticks with the lab handouts. Again, we've got lab handouts that are very important to know where they are, at least now that we're kind of online. Maybe you don't have to print them out or whatever, but you should know where they are because those terms are what are going to be on the practical. So week 1 is blood typing. Week 2, we're going to go to the heart and the blood vessels. We're going to, I plan on week 2 talking about this group project. There's a cardiovascular project that we're going to have to do as a group. I will have a separate video kind of giving instructions on that, but basically we're going to divide the class up into groups of 4 to 5 people. It's going to be random. When it's face-to-face, I'll let people pick, but right now I'm not. Sorry, it is going to be where I'm going to randomly assign groups to people. You will have to work with each other. You're going to get assigned randomly again one of the topics, and then as a group you'll work on it and then you'll present it. Again, we're going to use Skype. That's the plan, to do that, to let it be, you can have the video like I've got here with, you've got your PowerPoint here, and individual members of the team will present their part of it and then go on. So that's the plan. Again, we'll talk more about that. I'm going to have a video just dedicated to the group project when we, as we get there. So this is the outline. It's going to be, on this is pretty set in stone. This is going to be the way it goes. The one thing that you need to see right off the bat, hopefully, is that there is only one practical. They've set it up this time that there's only one practical this semester. It's a cumulative practical. And so I know there will be some people that are going to be upset about that, but that's the way it is right now. It wasn't even a department decision. I think that came down from admin. So it is, as it says here, all content of the document, including tentative course schedule above, are subject to change. And that's true, but I don't see this changing a lot. The big change will probably be in week 8. It still has up there class for cat dissection. As a matter of fact, this is a wrong schedule. I don't know why that's up there. I'll have to change it. This week 9 is the practical. Week 8 is going to be the presentation. So this might be one that's a little bit older, but we will get that taken care of. As we move down, as it talks about the evaluation and the course, the grades, lecture 75%. This lab is only 25%. And so it's broken up where the lab practical is going to be a 15% grade. And then I'm going to have the remaining 10% is going to be split between the daily averages, which is going to be the quizzes. It's going to be the attendance quizzes. These will be put on Connect, and you will have to do them. They'll be due every Saturday at noon. You can do them whenever, but they'll be due Saturday at noon. You can't do them afterwards. There will be averaged together, and that will be your daily averages, which is going to be 5%. And then 5% is going to come from the project. And we'll have a separate video on that. So as far as everything else goes, because I'm the lecture and lab professor, I'm kind of managing both of them. Understand, as it says here, that you can withdraw from the class at any time. I have the ability to do that. We'll talk about stuff if something happens. Look, things happen in life, and sometimes you have to address that before you can worry about school. And as much as school seems to be like the most important thing, understand it's really not. There are many more important things in life right now. And so hopefully a lot of times this, a lot of people I know that this little pandemic issue has caused to reevaluate and kind of reprioritize what's going on in life, but that's for another time. Course policies, again, and here a lot of this is going to be for in-class things. As it says down here in the bottom, I'll try to hold Skype meetings, scheduled lab times to go over material and answer any questions. It is not mandatory, but I'm not going to stay there. If no one's showing up, I'm not going to just be sitting there with the little Skype thing for 3 hours. So I'll be there as long as people are wanting me to be. And if something happens and I get out, like if no one's there, at 10:30 and nobody's there and I close out, and then at 11, someone's trying to get in and they can't, just email me. We can work it out, and I can get it. But, this is just a general plan right now. We're going to adapt as we go along. Attendance policy is still pretty strict attendance policy. There are going to be quizzes. You only get one absence in here. If you miss an attendance quiz in lab, if you miss a second one, you're automatically withdrawn. No ifs, ands, or buts. And again, the policy right now is pretty much hardline on that. You always have the ability to go talk to the department chair or email and reach to people above my head. I do not have authority to change those rules, and I am going to enforce them. And sometimes it's really sad that we have to do that, but right now this is a very there's a lot of leniency in some things, but in like attendance it's pretty straight. So there's no makeups on here because each week is its own little week, so there's no makeups. The lab practical, now the lab practical is kind of interesting. So as of right now, and again things are kind of fluid, we have the one practical, the cumulative practical, and it is going to be given on campus. And it's not going to be given in the lab room as of now. It is going to be given in one of the computer rooms. So each lab is going to be assigned a different time. And during that time, each lab, we will have different groups of that particular lab that will come up and take the practical. It's got to be proctored. And so there's no makeup practicals. This is the time. This is the way it is. When we get the time scheduled, this is week 9. This is like mid to late July. We're going to have plenty of time to organize things before we get there. And it's, a lot of things change, but, just understand that's the way it's set up to be right now. This has some old stuff in it. It says each practical here. I noticed that shouldn't be there because there's only one practical. Now, the weekly reports and quizzes, again, the weekly reports and quizzes are basically the attendance verification quiz for that week. It's going to be closed. It'll be open until noon on Saturday of that week. Once that's closed, that week is official. You cannot go back and take the quiz. If you miss it, that's an absence. Because it's attendance for that week. You can't go back and take it. That is it. But it gives you the whole week, all right, to do it. Technology again, obviously if you're taking an online class, which everybody here that's in here should know that you're taking an online class right now, you need to be able to get online. That's a kind of a basic part. So there's some things that you'll need to know and do. Most all of you are probably more computer savvy than I am. But if there's anything that comes up, Tech Central, we talked about, I put this on the course instructional package video. There, you can contact them, and they should be able to help you. Now, academic dishonesty, cheating, look, it's a big pet peeve of mine anyway. I think people that resort to cheating are people who do not take pride in their work. They don't take ownership of their life, and they will always end up trying to cheat. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Right now, there's a big issue across the country, actually, not just with our school, but I mean, I saw it when our school, I had, I taught 9 different sections last semester. I didn't have a single section where I taught both lecture and lab, so I taught with multiple different professors. And across the board, there was over a letter grade difference in people's grades. That set off huge red flags to our school. And it's not just an A&P, it was across the board, where people were probably using their book to take the test. They were, because there was no proctoring of it. So right now, there's going to be a lot of stuff that the school's planning to change for tests. So I'm telling you, please understand anyway. Don't worry about all of that. Do your best. Own the material. Own your life. Don't cheat. People that cheat are people that end up wanting to take the easier way, or they panic because they didn't do their best work, or they want to do things because everybody else is doing them. And well, everybody else is, I know other people that are doing it, and I want to keep up, and I get that. But I'm telling you, if you don't know this material, as you go farther along, it will come back to bite you. It will come back to bite you in a big way. So this material, I don't care, again, I said this in the orientation video. It doesn't matter if you made an A in this class. If you go to the next class and you don't know the material, you can't just go, well, wait, I got an A, and have the professor go, oh, okay, well, that's fine. No, they don't care what you made. They want you to know the material. One of the hardest things in nursing is that first couple of weeks, because they go in there and they expect you to be able to run and not walk. They're not interested in having to do reviews to get you brought up to steam and up to speed. They are like, all right, time to go. So you've got to know the material. So please, please, please heed my warning. Make sure you study this stuff. Make sure you know this stuff. And just take ownership of your life. If you do your best and you take the test, whatever grade you get, you did your best. And there's a sense of pride in that. So please, I hope that makes sense. Please do that. Lab attire, you don't have to worry about it right now because we're not in class or in lab. So, but another thing just to remind you, and I said this on the other video, these rules get tighter as you go along. So if you're in 211, the next class for most of you is going to be 225, which is micro. And these rules become incredibly strict for micro because you're dealing with pathogens. So that is the basis of our lab, the handouts. Again, lab's going to be done, again, virtually. I'm going to be putting videos that are going to be covering the lab material. Each week is set up. At the end of each week, there is a Connect quiz that's going to cover the material for that week. And it is due Saturday at noon. It'll be open before that. I can't tell you it's going to be open by Monday, but it'll be open early in the week. And you'll have plenty of time to take it. But once Saturday noon comes, that one is shut down. And then the next week starts. But you got to make sure you take it. 2 absences is, missing 2 quizzes is an automatic withdrawal. So I hope that makes sense. I hope everybody's doing well, and we will be in touch. Take care.